So in my last video, I unboxed the new 12.9-inch 4th gen iPad Pro and gave you some of my initial thoughts. Now, after spending a few hours drawing and testing some of the new features, I want to give you my full review as well as give you some of my recommendations for those of you who use this thing primarily for art like I do. The new 2020 iPad Pro is that same powerhouse of a tablet that remains at the top of its class in performance and beauty. The screen is almost identical to the 2018 model, and the chassis is also almost exactly the same except for the new dual camera bump on the back. The new tablet also still only works with the 2nd gen Apple Pencil, which has not been upgraded this year. So what that means is that your drawing experience, your entire drawing experience with the 2020 model is going to be exactly the same when it comes to sensitivity as the 2018 model. Now, the new model also comes with improved Wi-Fi 6 bandwidth, which is really cool, but most people aren't going to be able to take advantage of it because you need an entirely new router. This is something that I do value personally because I'm planning to move soon, and since I don't have a MacBook, I kind of rely heavily on Wi-Fi speeds to get a lot of the documents I use for my social media and patrons out onto the net. Now, the new 2020 model does come with a new, slightly improved A12Z Bionic chip, but as benchmark tests report, the improvement is really minimal, and I can confirm that with my own tests. Honestly, any iPad Pro out there is going to impress most people. Now, the new camera is something that I do appreciate because I seem to never have enough cameras on hand in my studio. The new camera allows you to get a wider view of your subject as well as including a time-of-flight sensor. So for me, I'm definitely going to be looking at purchasing a really big iPad stand so that I can use it to film stuff. The sensor also features LiDAR technology, which uses light rays to kind of bounce things off and get a sense of depth for everything in your environment. Now, will anyone make a cool drawing app that can actually utilize this feature? Maybe, maybe not. But as for me, I'm just going to rely on my Rift S for all of my AR and VR needs. Now, some of you have asked me if this thing bends, and well, we already know that this one does, and I'll just refer you to Everything Apple Pro's bend test in the card above. Yeah, it does bend if you really force it. The structure is still quite flimsy compared to the 2017 model, for example, but if you're like me and you take good care of your products, it shouldn't be a problem. None of my iPad Pros have ever bent, and I used to take them back and forth to work and back and forth for my lunch break every day. Personally, I don't think this is an issue because I think that Apple is trying to conserve, the environment and cut costs, which I think is a commendable endeavor, and they're really applying this to their entire company. Now, let's actually get into the real drawing experience with these two tablets, and since I use Procreate mainly for my work and it's pretty much the industry standard for tablets now, I'm going to talk about that. So as I've been growing as an artist, my gripes with the 2018 iPad Pro is that it's been beginning to lag on me in a few ways, especially since I'm taking my canvas sizes more seriously. In the drawings that you see me doing in this video, I'm working on 6,000 or 8,000 pixel size canvases. Procreate at this size crashes a few times a day, especially when you're trying to export things with canvases this size, and the layer limits are beginning to become way too stressful for me for my current workflow. Although I can report a slightly better experience with the 2020 model, it really doesn't solve that last issue. So Procreate has tweeted or replied to a tweet that they actually have to release a new version of Procreate that would enable people to take advantage of the new amounts of RAM in the new 2020 iPad Pros, 6 GB versus 4 in the 128 through the 512 GB models. Unfortunately, even after they've had a chance to thoroughly test the new 2020 models, there's still a big chance that they won't be able to take advantage of the new memory. If you recall, the 2018 model of the iPad Pro, this one right here, if you get the 1TB version, it does come with 6 GB of memory. However, Procreate was not able to use that amount of memory because it wasn't made available to developers. This is likely to be the same case across the entire new 6 GB standard of the 2020 iPad Pro line. Now, the improvements that I have noticed is that with an empty Procreate library, we've got to acknowledge that makes a difference, and the new improved chip, loading and exporting times have been a little bit better than with my 2018 model. It can get really annoying experiencing lag when you're going in and out of layers, documents, and stacks in Procreate, so as a heavy iPad user, especially for drawing, I really appreciate these little speed bumps. Now, before I get into the recommendations for whether you should upgrade your iPad Pro or not, I want to say thank you to today's sponsor, Paperlike. As you may know, Paperlike is a matte screen protector that is finely tuned for artists. As soon as I got my new 2020 model in, I made sure to immediately apply my new Paperlike screen protector because I wanted to avoid the terrible pain that is drawing with rubber and glass. If you're coming from traditional work or you're coming from a more traditional tablet, then you definitely want to get this. It's an absolute must-have. And if you don't believe me, then just listen to the difference. Links to get your own Paperlike will be in the description box below. Alright, so let's get to those of you who are like me and have the 2018 model of the iPad Pro. Should you upgrade? No, you shouldn't. Nope. Honestly, the differences are just too minuscule for anyone who already has this model. And please don't compare yourself to me if you're wondering why I got the new iPad Pro, because for me, it's simply a business expense. And also, that new $2 trillion stimulus package from Congress does actually amount to almost exactly the price of this model of iPad Pro, so yeah. Now, what if you have the 2017 iPad Pro? Now, this is where it gets more interesting, and it's a little bit more of a difficult question to answer, so I'll tell you why I think it's a good idea and a bad idea so that you can make your own choice. So reasons to upgrade include that even though the design is weaker, it's still a great design, it's beautiful, and it's simply more efficient and portable than the old one. However, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so that's really up to your taste. The second reason to upgrade is simply the Apple Pencil. The second gen is way better in every single way than the first gen, and personally, I don't ever want to go back to that one, so it might be worth upgrading if you're kind of tired of it. Now, I also have a few reasons not to upgrade. The 2017 model is still a tank, and it takes hits. You can't bend it nearly as easily as with the 2018 and the 2020 models, and some people actually like the increased weight and heftiness. There are also rumors that there is going to be a new iPad Pro released later this year. This iPad Pro is rumored to have a new micro LED screen as well as an insanely more powerful chip, the A14X Bionic. So in my opinion, I would definitely wait for that one. They say not to wait for tech for upgrading, but the 2017 model is extremely capable still, so you're really not missing out. And my last reason really builds on that. The 2017 model is an amazing device. In my opinion, as long as you don't have the 64 gig model, you're not missing out on anything with your iPad Pro experience, especially when it comes to drawing. So what if you have a different model of an iPad, like the iPad Air or just the regular iPad 7th gen, or maybe you don't have an iPad at all? That's going to take a little bit more time to answer. It's a little bit more of a complex question, so I'm working on a video that's going to talk about all of the different types of drawing tablets out there, and the goal is that I can end everyone's confusion on what they should get, at least for the next year maybe. So you know what to do. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit the bell icon so that you don't miss next week's video. I'm Ergo Josh, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and keep drawing. Peace.